It's safe to say that major wrestling promotions don't always go out of their way to make their own fans happy. WWE are particularly blind to their audience's desires, and every major decision comes under immense scrutiny, particularly when it defies what people actually want to see from the product. See Jinder Mahal's ropey WWE title reign for an example of what usually happens in situations like this. But sometimes, even the most boneheaded, incompetent-looking decisions create solid gold. There's often no telling how something will pan out until it's put into practice, and while these decisions seemed awful at the time, they worked out in the end. I'm Andy from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 horrible decisions that gave us great wrestling. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10. John Cena's 2015 US title win. In 2015, WWE decided to remove John Cena from the world title hunt, allowing younger talent to shine in his absence. A good idea, but unfortunately, WWE used this to derail the surging Rusev. The Bulgarian Brute was 146 days into his US title run when Big Bad John swept in and took the gold away. In doing this, WWE nuked a potentially marketable heel commodity. Rusev has never been the same since, but Cena's title run turned out pretty damn awesome. The US title Open Challenge Series was a triumph, bringing fresh, exciting matches with the likes of Cesaro, Neville, and Sami Zayn. The belt's prestige went through the roof, and while Rusev's burial did suck, this was the silver lining. Number 9. Asuka vacating the NXT Women's title. There were several different ways WWE could have ended Asuka's epic NXT Women's title run without actually having her take a pin, and they chose the worst. The Empress of Tomorrow defended her belt in a fantastic match with Ember Moon at TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Afterwards, WWE in all their wisdom decided to concoct a fake injury angle. They claimed Asuka had broken her collarbone against Moon, and despite showing no signs of hurt whatsoever, she was forced to vacate. A horrible angle, but it did lead to Asuka's main roster call-up. Since then, she has starred at Survivor Series, won the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, throw her excellent TV matches with the likes of Sasha Banks into the mix, and it's safe to say she's doing okay for herself. Number 8. Roman Reigns winning the 2015 Royal Rumble. Now this was a disaster. Not even The Rock could save Reigns from universal rejection in Philadelphia. On a night that saw Daniel Bryan unceremoniously dumped halfway through, WWE served up the winner the fans wanted least, as the big dog was hot-shotted all the way to the top. Now he was already getting booed beforehand, but this was the real tipping point, and his reactions have never recovered. Despite all this, Reigns has evolved into a tremendous wrestler since being thrust into the spotlight. We can and should complain about his push all day long, but with dozens of great matches against the likes of AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens on his resume, Roman's wrestling has been objectively excellent. Number 7. Letting Cody go. The grandson of a plumber first entered the WWE system in 2006. 10 years later, he decided he'd had enough. Tired of the restrictive Stardust gimmick, Rhodes asked for and was granted his release, thus commencing the best run of his career. Cody reinvented himself on the indies. His grind was, and still is, relentless. He was a man in demand, and he'd eventually worked himself into great positions in both ROH and NJPW, delivering the best matches of his career with Kazuchika Okada and Kota Ibushi. The horrible decision here was WWE marginalising him in the first place, and maybe if they'd listened, Rhodes would be doing all these awesome things under their roof instead. What a waste. Number 6. Eric Bischoff firing Steve Austin. While keeping hold of Steve Austin wouldn't have necessarily saved WCW from their eventual demise, firing him was a boneheaded decision regardless. Cut loose while injured, stunning Steve soon made Eric Bischoff rue his decision. He was but a lowly mid-carder in WCW, but after a brief sojourn in ECW, Austin signed with WWE in 1995 and eventually became a megastar. The early days were uneventful, but Austin went stratospheric after shedding the Ringmaster for Stone Cold. Austin 316 was born at King of the Ring 96. He was pushed all the way to the top the following year, becoming the Attitude Era's physical embodiment and WWE's franchise player in the process. Number 5. Sheamus squashing Daniel Bryan. You may point to his hideous omission from the 2014 Royal Rumble as a starting point, but WrestleMania 28 was where the seeds for Daniel Bryan's yes movement were sown. Sheamus killed him in a single move that night. Distracted by a good luck kiss from AJ Lee, Bryan's World Heavyweight title reign ended in just 18 seconds, breaking the internet and sending fans into a tailspin. An egregious decision, but one that built immense support for Bryan. Such fuckery formed the foundation of his surge to the top, which occurred in spite of, not because of, the way WWE had booked him. WrestleMania 30 was his big night, but it all started here. Number 4. The Curtain Call Incident. On May 19th, 1996, the Clique were very, very naughty boys. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were on their way to WCW. As a send-off, they embraced with buddies Triple H and Shawn Michaels at a Madison Square Garden house show, which made no sense from a storyline standpoint. 2 of them were working heel at the time, and the other 2 were faces. Vince McMahon was furious, but he couldn't punish Hall and Nash, and HBK was his golden boy. Triple H took all the punishment, and it started when his planned King of the Ring push was canned. Steve Austin won the tournament instead, and well, that little experiment worked out okay, didn't it? Number 3. TNA not pushing the boat out for AJ Styles. Of all the hilarious blunders Impact Wrestling have made over the years, letting their biggest homegrown star walk ranks among the dumbest. TNA inexplicably let AJ Styles go in 2013. Their contract offer was too weak to convince him to stick around, and off he went to Japan, becoming a major star from the get-go. Career-defining matches with guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, Minoru Suzuki, and Hiroshi Tanahashi followed. His star went through the roof, and in January 2016, WWE finally came calling, transforming him into a global megastar. Styles would have likely made his way to WWE someday anyway, but in not pushing the boat out for their top guy, TNA lost their biggest asset. Number 2. The Montreal Screwjob. There are better ways to see off a top star than building the biggest con in wrestling history around him, but that's precisely what WWE did to Bret Hart at Survivor Series 1997. The Montreal Screwjob will live on in wrestling infamy for an eternity, but while WWE's methods were extreme, some good did come of it. It effectively ushered in the Attitude Era. Vince McMahon was immediately cast as the villain, and he leaned into it, creating the evil boss persona that defined WWE's most successful period, and of course, its greatest rivalry, Austin versus McMahon. The period is still remembered by many as WWE's creative peak. Would it have happened without Montreal? Perhaps, but the Screwjob was definitely the first domino to fall. Number 1. Beating the streak. WWE broke the internet at WrestleMania 30. In having Brock Lesnar, a part-timer, beat The Undertaker's legendary streak, consensus was that they'd handed what should have been a huge honour to someone who wouldn't even be around to reap the benefits. It was a waste, apparently, and many were outraged. But they were wrong. So wrong. The win was pivotal into building Brock Lesnar into what he is today, WWE's biggest special attraction. It enhanced his aura tenfold, made him a star above everyone else in the company, and without question, WWE's most credible mauler. Divisive he may be, but Lesnar's star power and mystique are undeniable, and beating the streak was a huge part of this.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. It might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.